inspiring Uganda. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Yes, a very good evening to you tuned into UBC TV. Warmly welcome to News Tonight, this Monday, the 23rd of March, 2026. My name is Michael Jordan Lukomwa. Elizabeth Nakakoni also joins in for sign language interpretation, and we'll go straight to what we have for you tonight, starting with a look at the headlines of the many stories that we have gathered this evening for you. Let's have the headlines. President Yoweri Museveni invites elected independent MPs to Kyankwanzi for a retreat. NRM seeking to contest for EALA starts picking expression of interest forms. Police commends members of the public for supporting addressing crime in the Kampala metropolitan area, while FIFA sounds strong warning ahead of World Cup. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in. Let's go straight to what we have for you. President Yoweri Museveni has invited independent members of parliament elect to be part of the forthcoming Kyankwanzi retreat slated for the 7th to the 14th of April 2026. The directive was revealed by the NRM National Treasurer Barbara Nekesa as the independent MPs returned their forms of expressing their interest to work with the ruling party at the party secretariat.
The Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, led 30 MPs elect who are independents to the NRM secretariat to return forms expressing interest to work with the NRM. The Speaker says independent MPs will participate and benefit from all affairs of NRM.
If it is in the leadership, we will equally give leadership to the independents. We have slots assigned to independents. So you should know you are in the right place. You are at home.
The Speaker also urged the NRM legal team to support those independents who have election-related court matters.
Now that these people are signing up with you, these people are part of us. Some of them have cases. You should not harass them, because they are our people.
Meanwhile, NRM National Treasurer Barbara Nekesa says the President has invited the independent MPs to the Kyankwanzi retreat.
The President has communicated her proposition of having independent members of Parliament invited to Kyankwanzi. We have already received a formal directive from the Chairman instructing us to incorporate the independent members of Parliament elect as categories that will be attending the retreat at Changwanzi.
It is within the legal framework for an independent MP or any party to sign an MOU to work with the ruling party.
By the way, even members of the opposition can cooperate. Even if they are in the opposition, they can find areas of cooperation with the majority in the House. So that is not a big issue. It is a question of having a memorandum of understanding and having the clear grounds upon which you cooperate and upon which you understand each other.
Independent MPs will be presented to the National Chairman, President Museveni, during the Changwanzi retreat in April to sign an MOU after swearing in May. Lydia Chomkama for UBC News.
The NRM Electoral Commission Chairman, Dr. Tanga Odoi, has announced the commencement of picking of interest forms by party members seeking to fill the 2 East African Legislative Assembly vacant slots. Dr. Tanga Odoi told the media that the exercise commencing Monday 23rd will close on Wednesday 25th of March.
In 2022, Parliament elected NRM members James Kakoza and Dens Namara as part of Uganda's representation team to the East African Legislative Assembly EALA.
That we've done our best under Uganda.
However, following the election to Parliament of Uganda in the 2026 general elections, the duo now ceases to represent Uganda and their party, thus calling for by-election.
Want to be eligible to contest in NRM primaries for Member of Parliament to the East African Legislative Assembly, that person, those people, must have the following minimum qualifications. First, they must be Ugandan citizen. 2, 18 years and above. 3, must be a member of the NRM party.
While addressing media this Monday afternoon from the NRM Electoral Commission offices in Kampala, the 6-member panel announced a short program kicking off on Monday 23rd March 2026 to replace the duo.
Expression of interest starts today, Monday 23rd, 2026, and ends on Wednesday the 25th March 2026 at 5 p.m. Nomination of candidates shall be on Wednesday 25th March 2026. We shall also start at 9 and end at 5.
According to the NRM Electoral Commission Chairperson Dr. Tanga Odoi, voting will be only limited to members serving their term in the 11th Parliament.
The voters will be all NRM members of the 11th Parliament. The new MPs will be members of Parliament of the 12th Parliament. The members who were the Electoral College then in 2022 were members of the 11th Parliament. So since these members were elected then, the same college that elected them is the same college we are going to use.
Parliament has set 30th and 31st for nominations on the slots, as well as 14th April 2026 as voting dates. The NRM Central Executive Committee and Parliamentary Caucus will also convene on Thursday 26th and Friday 27th to approve the candidates.
Because we must present these names to SEC. If it is called on Thursday, we shall present to SEC. Caucus has been called for Friday, Parliamentary Caucus. And if Parliamentary Caucus is to vote, these members will be voted in the Parliamentary Caucus of Friday. So we don't have time. The NRM Electoral Commission shall appoint a date, time, and place for election of the candidate.
Further, pending national and local council elections, the NRM party is preparing flag-bearer baskets, ready as the Electoral Commission sets election days.
We got our flag bearers on 6th May 2025. Some have since died. Some could have got gainful employment. Others may have joined other political parties. So we are doing a verification right now.
Robert Nyango, UBC News.
Prime Minister Robin Anabanja has commended the Ministry of Water and Environment for promoting sustainable climate action and advancing national development goals. She was addressing the 9th Uganda Water and Environment Week 2026, where she emphasized safeguarding the country's natural resources.
Water gives relief and is a resource in development, although Uganda's natural resources are under pressure of destruction. The Prime Minister, Robin Anabanja, has called upon the public to support government's efforts by promoting institutional strengthening and inclusiveness in environmental management.
Meaningful partnership or participation and leadership from these groups is not only just, it makes our policies and programs more effective, sustainable, and resilient. Efforts to restore wetlands, forests, riverbanks, with a focus on enforcing environmental laws against encroachment.
State Minister for Water, Aisha Sechide, reaffirmed government's commitment to expanding water access and improving environmental sustainability.
Participants will witness integrated water management and wetland restoration in practice, water harvesting, urban and rural supply, community impact on transboundary cooperation with our neighbors.
The Permanent Secretary, Minister of Water, Alfred Okot Okidi, says that this year's theme focuses on leveraging water security, environmental stewardship, and climate resilience to accelerate the country's economic transformation.
Water and environment in achieving Uganda's 10-fold growth strategy. Investment in science, technology, innovation, and capacity building to enhance progress in water and environment management and development. The third will be ensuring environmentally sustainable and climate resilient economies and communities. And the fourth one will be leveraging the power and the capacity of women, youth, and children in delivery of water and environment services.
They highlighted key challenges affecting the water and environment sector, including climate change and rapid population growth, calling on the ministry to strengthen interventions to address these issues.
What cancerous, what chemicals have since gone to our water system? But the headlines are only talking about some few encroachers who came around the landfill. So I think we really need to take the debate much higher.
We have seen that climate change and variability manifests largely through water and the extremes of this. We either have droughts, prolonged droughts, or we have inundation.
They raised concern over limited access to water for irrigation. Jane Nyiramjsha, Aisha Musanya for UBC News.
Police have commended members of the public for the support in addressing the surge in crime within the Kampala metropolitan area. Deputy Police Spokesperson SSP Diane Nandaula highlighted the reduction in crime, which he attributes to community-based operations.
Arrested, a comparatively smaller number based on recent reports. Police say this reflects progress in ongoing efforts to reduce crime.
The operation we carried out was the northern bypass, where there have been complaints of thuggery, phone snatching, bag snatching, and other petty crimes. So we conducted a massive operation in the areas of Busega, Masanafu, along northern bypass, and they were able to arrest a good number of people. That totaled to 78.
The public has been commended for cooperating with the security teams to eliminate criminal elements from communities under the community policing model.
During these operations, we normally arrest a good number of people, many of whom have appeared in court and have been remanded. So many times when suspects are remanded, that is already a reduction in the number of criminals in circulation, and even if they are just detained in police, it is already a reduction in crime. So the continuous ongoing operations have contributed to that, but also the reduction of criminals from circulation is a big factor in crime reduction.
Police also reported several isolated incidents over the weekend, including an explosion in Mbale that left a number of people injured.
An explosion in Mbale city where a scrap dealer was offloading metals at his workshop, and this happened at St. Andrew's Cell, South Central Ward, Industrial Division in Mbale City. So in the course of offloading, as they dropped down some of the metals, one of them exploded, injuring 4 people who were helping in the offloading. This bomb squad has been dispatched to the area to be able to carry out an investigation, and they have already picked up fragments.
Meanwhile, the Police Directorate of Traffic and Road Safety has reviewed operations on roads over the past week. The report indicates more passengers now falling victim to road crashes.
As the most affected group, this differing from the previous trends, where we have already seen the vulnerable road users, particularly the motorcyclists, their passengers and the pedestrians being the majority affected. And this has been due to speeding and careless overtaking, both which continue to pose significant risks of road safety.
As Easter festivities approach, traffic police have intensified operations along major highways for compliance with the traffic regulations. Abdunasele Lobwama for UBC.
Representatives of civil society organizations are demanding for immediate reinstatement of the permits of the suspended organizations and unfreezing of affected bank accounts. A member of civil society, Andrew Karamagi, told the media that the regulatory impact assessment proposal that controls funding and donor accreditation should be withdrawn.
A section of civil society organizations and non-government organizations have released a statement trashing misleading narratives that labels them agents of foreign interests and threats to national security.
We see ourselves as bound by the Constitution. So if there are any regulatory frameworks that are in place by government, we need to be in partnership to define this.
Immediate reversal of suspensions and illegal orders. We demand the immediate reinstatement of the permits of the suspended organizations and the unfreezing of all affected bank accounts.
This follows the suspension and withdrawal of operating permits from 7 human rights non-government organizations by the National Bureau of NGOs that was dissolved under Ministry of Internal Affairs as per the NGO Amendment Act 2024 and freezing of their bank accounts.
They didn't even know what they were looking for. So they share vague letters like share your transactions, but our transactions are contained in audit reports that are available to the NGO Bureau. So what transactions are you looking for? And they couldn't tell the board representatives. So they said they will go back and review to see what they were looking for. And here we are with the frozen accounts.
The Executive Director, Center for Constitutional Governance, Sarah Birete, says the National Bureau of NGOs ceased to exist after being integrated into Ministry of Internal Affairs.
Go to the literal meaning of the NGO Amendment Act. The Bureau does not exist. Even when we are engaged in negotiations, we are engaged in negotiations with the administrator of the Bureau, not the Bureau. The law required the minister to gazette members of the Bureau. Nobody has ever seen this gazette. So legally, we have a non-existent NGO Bureau.
A civil society activist, Job Kija, says the regulatory impact assessment proposal that seeks to create a government NGO fund was brought in a spirit of controlling and constraining the operations of the NGO sector.
NGOs exist to fill up gaps that are left by the inefficiencies of government. So how can government claim that they can actually finance NGOs? The second argument was that government has a very bad track record in terms of accountability.
I'm Nafka Farida and Mike Bakablindi in Kampala.
We thank you so much for watching. Let's take a short break. Please keep it with us.
Somchara.
Yes, Daddy.
You know the children are going back to school and things are a bit tight. Huh? For now, why don't you take half of the fees to junior school, and for the school van contribution, we shall pay later. Huh?
Daddy, why don't we pay using MTN Momo, where we stand a chance of winning school fees for a whole year and more? By the way, you can also apply for a school fees loan, and also participating schools can win a school van.
That's right! Win school fees for a whole year and more. Get Momo goodies and a school van for participating schools. You can also apply for a school fees loan. Simply dial *165*80# or use the Momo app.
It's back, bigger and with more business opportunities. It's the Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo, Poate 2026, Uganda's flagship tourism event. Poate 2026 will take place from the 21st to the 23rd of May 2026 at the Speak Resort Convention Center, Munyonyo, under the theme Wanderlust. It's your time to thrive. Yes, it's your time to tap into Uganda's renewed optimism and tourism growth. Tourism stakeholders, travel trade partners, and tourism enthusiasts will be part of the Poate 2026. Come and network with like-minded people and unlock new business opportunities. To participate, register at www.poate.co.ug. Poate 2026 is brought to you by Uganda Tourism Board and partners.
Uganda, get ready for an unforgettable experience. Join thousands of runners and culture lovers at the Mbarara City Marathon 2026, happening Saturday, the 28th of March 2026, starting at 6 a.m. at Mogaba Palace, Kamukuzi in Mbarara City. This year's theme proudly celebrates the biggest culture and heritage of the long-horned cattle in the land of honey and milk, a symbol of identity, pride, and tradition in Uganda. Come and run through the cultural heartland where heritage meets tourism and sport. Choose your race: 42 kilometers, 21 kilometers, 10 kilometers, or 5 kilometers. The guest of honor will be the Minister for Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, highlighting Uganda's rich culture and tourism. Register today and get your marathon kit at www.mbararacitymarathon.com or dial *272*11#. Proudly sponsored by Tusker Light, Grace and Family Concepts, Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, Uganda, Nyakayojo Sacco, Explore Uganda, Textile and Prom Home, Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, Emburera Farm Lodge, Country Cinema, Arch Motors, and many more. For more information, call 0785 408 422. Mbarara City Marathon 2026, running to celebrate the culture and heritage of the long-horned cattle in the land of honey and milk.
Somchara.
Yes, Daddy.
You know the children are going back to school and things are a bit tight. Huh? For now, why don't you take half of the fees to junior school, and for the school van contribution, we shall pay later. Huh?
Daddy, why don't we pay using MTN Momo, where we stand a chance of winning school fees for a whole year and more? By the way, you can also apply for a school fees loan, and also participating schools can win a school van.
That's right! Win school fees for a whole year and more. Get Momo goodies and a school van for participating schools. You can also apply for a school fees loan. Simply dial *165*80# or use the Momo app.
Business news tonight. Thank you so much for watching and welcome back from the break. Moroto Municipality illegal structures demolishing exercise turned dramatic after Moroto outgoing mayor wanted the exercise suspended after finding his container being demolished. It follows expiry of the 2 weeks notice for illegal premises out of the municipal council, police and technical wing led by Town Clerk Richard Eyaru who carried out the exercise.
Okukola ekibuga mu Luto nga bwe kyalambikibwa okwetoloola The implementation of trade order in Moroto municipality started early with the demolition of containers along Leah Street in North Division after the elapse of a 2-week notice. It required traders to voluntarily vacate streets and remove kiosks in illegal premises. Traders who had not complied evacuated their merchandise when demolition exercise started. A law enforcement officer at Moroto Municipal Council, Fred Obalim, who had a container since 2006, complied.
Without even giving people some time, at least for preparation. The thing was...
But Moroto Municipality outgoing mayor protested when a wheel loader was unroofing his container. He and other traders wanted the exercise suspended.
Said suspend the operation should anybody go to my people. I want to tell my people, Moroto, be ready to fight. Wow. And fight, die in the battle.
They proceeded next to Bus Terminal Mayor, who ordered the wheel loader driver to leave the scene. He stood in front of it to stop it from proceeding with the demolition. Mayor Mohammed called upon people to get pangas and guns to fight, but some leaders were not happy with the statement.
Issues of bankers, oars, it will not work when it comes to development.
Traders were cheering him up that Karamoja is still a village to implement such orders, and people have used PDM money in business. Some leaders welcomed the trade order.
We are supposed to move, but why don't you give us time? People have small loans, people are trying to survive very hard ways. And you know Karamoja is a place that has just come out of this. Sure. Why should you make us have these hearts of hatred?
Since we need a city, we need Moroto to be clean. And we need people to start building, planning structures which can really look like it is a town. You look at now, new districts which have just started, they are developing than Moroto, which is the mother district. So I really appreciate the idea of the town clerk.
Exercise is not stopping. We are not stopping the exercise. That's why you see we are now in South Division. But the good news is that people from this division have complied. 80% have complied.
South Division chairperson asked for more time for the traders, which town clerk Eyaru agreed upon.
So as Moroto, we are adopting urban characteristics at the national microcosm. But for the trade order, it is okay.
Send to requests for, like you see this man here with this structure. Said we give him up to the end of the day.
The trade order was guidance from the Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Local Government, Ben Kumumanya, to all municipality and city leaders. Crispus Arinitwe, Maureen Iga, reporting for UBC.
We'll now take you to our segment that we bring every Monday, Buza Commissioner, where the Commissioner General of the Uganda Revenue Authority answers questions from taxpayers here on UBC TV.
Buza Commissioner.
Welcome to Buza Commissioner. Our question tonight is from one of our viewers who says, online assessments without physical verification. Why are some tax assessments issued online without prior physical verification at the Declaration Processing Center, in brackets DPC? Could this practice be contributing to the cases of perceived overassessment? Our dear viewer, thank you for asking this very important question. Now, number one, Uganda Revenue Authority implements a tax system that is based on self-assessment regime. What does this mean? It means that the taxpayers are empowered legally to be the ones to determine how much tax they pay. URA, our role is to verify and confirm that the declared tax is the right one. Therefore, if the taxpayer is honest and is diligent, and he declares the right value of the goods and the right quantities of the goods purchased, URA's job will just be to facilitate and give you a payment registration number and you pay your taxes. We do not have to come and verify and count your goods. In fact, for clarity, if you read the law that guides taxation of international trade, our laws are defined in the East African Customs Management, East African Community Customs Management Act, otherwise called EACMA. EACMA, Section 41, defines the role of Uganda Revenue Authority in the clearance of goods. And it says that URA may verify the goods if there is need. Therefore, the question you asked our dear viewer, why does URA assess from their document processing center, DPC, here you called it declaration, but I'm sure you're referring to the document processing center, without coming to count our goods? I'm informing you tonight that the counting of goods is only necessary for verification purposes. In other words, where you declare right from the start, the right quantities, the right amounts, you attach the necessary documents, URA does not have to come and verify. We will look at what you have declared. The role of the Document Processing Center, or DPC, is to verify the documents attached. And once we see that these documents are authentic, the values are within the expected range, we will clear your consignment. You will clear through our system seamlessly without us coming to verify and count. We count and verify only because many times what we see on document is not what is expected, and therefore we come to double check. So our dear viewer, avoid misdeclaration, avoid under declaration, and you will never see URA coming to peep into your container, because what we see on paper is consistent and expected and can be passed by DPC without us coming to verify. I hope this answers your question.
Buza Commissioner. Now you can get direct answers. Send your tax-related questions via WhatsApp or SMS to 0790-141-887, and the Commissioner General of URA, John Musinguzi, will personally address them.
That is all we had for you at this particular moment. Why we have the front bench, which is going to just take over immediately after this bulletin. As Newsroom, we'll catch you at 10 p.m. My name is Michael Jordan Lukomwa. With Elizabeth Nakakuni and the whole team, we hand you over to Jethro Kasaiji and the front bench team.
Thank you, Jordan. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the front bench. Every Monday, 8:30 p.m., where we do host honorable ministers and permanent secretaries. These are leaders who really matter a lot when it comes to issues